Hey guys, what's going on? This is NGS and welcome back to another video. It's time for another collection update. This one in particular, we're going to be taking a look at the PlayStation 3, and it's been quite some time since I've done a PS3 update. I guess the main theme of my channel when it came to collection updates is that I do them not annually but biannually, because that gives me a good amount of time to go and find great games and update you guys on what I've been playing after a considerable amount of time. I did one in 2010, did one in 2012, and, well, didn't do one in 2014. But that's gonna change because we're doing one now in 2015, and this is actually the first collection video where the PS3 is not, I guess, the main focus platform that I have been playing for the past couple of years. PlayStation 3, in addition to like PC and of course Nintendo handhelds, PlayStation 3 was really the console where I spent the most amount of my time gaming. It had the best games that I wanted to play, a lot of Japanese support obviously. And it's really interesting because out of all of the consoles from last generation, the PlayStation 3 is still kicking it pretty strong with a lot of support coming out of Japan. But enough of that, let's actually get on to the collection. So as I'm looking at my collection right now, I definitely have got a lot of great additions, and normally I would, in the past collection videos, if I talked about a game before, I would just brush by it really fast for this one, but since it's been almost 3 years since I've done an update, I might as well just talk about each individual one, which is going to end up having this video over 6 hours. But anyway, first on the bat, we have Fallout 3, and I think what I'm going to do is start with the original PlayStation 3 boxed cases like this. I normally don't arrange my games like that. It's actually pretty random. It's usually by franchise. But yeah, Fallout 3 is it's a pretty damn good game. Now, I bought this on the PlayStation 3 dirt cheap when I got the PS3, which was like 2009. I bought this in 2010. And I did play quite a lot of it, but once I got my PC the following year, well, you obviously know, a Bethesda game on consoles, it's kind of But if you haven't tried out Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas, I definitely recommend checking them out. They're RPGs where you could sink hundreds upon hundreds of hours into, and Fallout 4 needs to be announced. Like, I'm not just saying that I want it to be announced, no, it needs to be announced. I need another Fallout game. I love Skyrim, but Bethesda, what they've been doing, I don't know, man. Is it going to be an Elder Scrolls 6? Is it going to be a Fallout 4? Who knows? But Fallout 3, definitely a game that I think everybody should try out. Alright, another old classic, a lot of you guys might remember this one, Folklore. This was actually one of the very first RPGs that was released on the PS3. You guys know PS3, when it first came out, it didn't really have a lot of support. But as the first year went on, it got a shit ton of support, and then, well, that basically it's history. But yeah, Folklore was a really, really interesting RPG that was overshadowed by a lot of the other games coming out at the time. I think Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty Modern Warfare were out that year, so no one was really talking about PlayStation 3 exclusives at the time. But this was a really, really interesting, unique, and dark RPG. It was just really good. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to explain without gushing over it, but if you're ever walking inside of a GameStop or if you're on eBay and you see this game and you want to try out something you probably haven't played, I'm sorry, I'm just taking dust off of things because I haven't done a video in a while, then definitely check out Folklore. I'm pretty sure it's really cheap right now, but you honestly, you can't go wrong with this game. It was very different for the time it released. This game is, I think, coming on at 8 years old, so yay for Folklore. And of course, the one that started it all, we've got Uncharted Drake's Fortune. I'm pretty sure by now the game hasn't aged as well as something like Uncharted 2 has, but it's the one that started it all. It's just so gosh darn memorable. Nathan Drake's a great character. And I do want to go back and play it again and just see that, oh my god, it's been almost 10 years since this game has come out. You're just going to be like, ooh. But yeah, I definitely love Uncharted. Uncharted's one of my favorite franchises of this and last generation. Moving on to another game that really I don't think gets a lot of love, Resistance 2 by Insomniac. And of course, dust is on every PlayStation 3 game I have. Resistance is an interesting franchise for me. I played the first game, I liked it. Played the second game, absolutely loved it. Really couldn't get too far into the third game. This one has a special place in my heart. This one was just the multiplayer. Forget the single player. Single player was good, but the multiplayer, that freaking, oh my god, what was it, 30 versus 30? Yeah, 60 player online. 60 player online, yet like 8 player co-op. It was just fantastic. So so many hours were spent into Resistance 2's multiplayer. And to be honest, I don't think Insomniac has made another game as online centric as Resistance. I mean, the stuff they've been doing since then, Fuse was garbage. The past couple Ratchet and Clank games were pretty iffy after a crack in time. They have to go back to this. Like, this was just pure chaotic fun, and I loved every single minute of it. I'm pretty sure the servers aren't up now since it's a very, very old game, but anybody who's played Resistance understands how much fun this multiplayer was. 30 versus freaking 30. Come on now. And probably what is the most, I wouldn't say disappointing game in my collection, but it's definitely the headliner of my gaming pile of shame, which is essentially games that I bought, really excited to play, never played them again. I get so much flack for this every single time I talk about it. That game, of course, is Metal Gear Solid 4, Guns of the Patriots. Now, this game was hyped to Jesus. Like, this was the most popular game for a very long time. I can't get into Metal Gear for whatever reason. I understand why everybody likes the franchise. It's great. I completely understand that. But I don't know. Something about the game just never got to me. But when I got my PlayStation 3, everyone's like, yeah, get Metal Gear. It doesn't matter if you haven't played the other games. Get Metal Gear. I'm like, okay. And I got it. And I'm like, oh, this is cool, I guess. But it's just not my cup of tea. At some point, I'm sure in 10 years, I'll probably go and play through all the other games, and I'll be like, in 2028, hey guys, I just finished Metal Gear Solid 4, and it was fucking awesome, and everyone's just moved on to like Metal Gear Solid 16 or something. Alrighty, we got another one. We got Killzone 2, another really hyped PlayStation 3 exclusive. But this game in particular was one of the ones that everyone was saying, oh yeah, man, this is gonna be what's gonna turn it around for the PS3, man. I mean, look at this game, Killzone, man. Look at these graphics, man. And it comes out, and well, the graphics are amazing, and story is not. Multiplayer is cool. Yeah, definitely one of the most overhyped PS3 exclusives. If you're looking at it for graphics alone, it's good. Gameplay is there's definitely a learning curve, I'll just say that, with some of these controls. But yeah, one of the first PlayStation 3 exclusives that really, really stuck out to people and said, yo man, that game right there. So yeah, Killzone 2. Another great PlayStation 3 exclusive. Most of these are PS3 exclusives, as you guys know. I think that's what the... I just got dust in my mouth. That's amazing. Let's move straight onto it because I lost whatever the heck of a train I had. Infamous. Very, very good game. Very nice departure from Sly Cooper, but it is still Sucker Punch greatness. Through it, in and out, plaster all over it. It's just awesome. It's a superhero game with a great story. Cole, I know a lot of people aren't really digging this guy, but I love Cole for whatever reason. He's just so... I don't know, he's so literal. He's not trying to be like the dude with the quips. He's not trying to be this silent, heroic badass. He's not trying to be the anti-hero. Cole is just Cole, and he's shaped by what you do, and he sees all this shit happening. He's like, man, what the fuck? Like, seriously, Cole he takes it as an average person would. Like, yeah, this stuff sucks. But yeah, very good game nonetheless, Infamous. I bought a PlayStation Move. This came with it. It's like Wii Sports, but on the PS3, and well, that's all you need to know. It's Wii Sports, but nowhere near as fun. Onto a better game, Mass Effect 2. Y'all already know I love the Mass Effect franchise. Haven't played 3 yet. I know everyone's like, yeah, I love the franchise. First 2 games, haven't touched the 3rd yet. But this was awesome, Mass Effect 2. I own this game on 3 different platforms. I own it on 360, I own it on PS3, and I own it on PC, and I've beaten it on all platforms. It's a fantastic game. I love going back to the Mass Effect universe. I've played through the first and the second multiple times, and I'm probably going to do another playthrough starting from the very beginning and just going through all the games, because that's something I've never done. Because the way it started with me is I started playing Mass Effect 2 on the Xbox 360, and I did an entire playthrough. I beat it like that. I love the game so much, I went back and purchased the first game. Weird, I know. And I played through Mass Effect 1, completed it, started a Mass Effect 2 playthrough with my imported character, stopped. I got bored over winter break. I decided to pick this up. It was 20 bucks. I hadn't played the DLC yet. So I started a playthrough using the Mass Effect digital comic thing. Did the DLC on this, beat that. Got the game on PC when it was $5, started a playthrough, beat that, got Mass Effect 1 on PC, you see how convoluted this is? I cannot do a simple character progression. And my main problem is I own Mass Effect 3 on PS3 because it was $5 a couple of months back. So unless I get Mass Effect 3 for Xbox 360, PC, or get Mass Effect 1 for PS3, I'm not going to do a complete character transfer playthrough. So I'm just stuck at this crossroads, but Mass Effect is a fantastic franchise. If you own a 360, PS3, PC, you deserve to yourself to play it. It's not as RPG heavy as a lot of people will make it seem. Like this is a great role-playing game with a deep customization and stuff. It's really not. Even the first game is really not too much of an RPG. It is in the traditional respects, but if you're talking about all the crazy things that you would have to do in like a Skyrim or a Dragon Age or, you know, like a Final Fantasy, it's really not like that. But regardless of all that, they're fantastic games with a great narrative. You're really not going to be disappointed when you play the games. Like I said, I haven't played 3, so I'm not going to be speaking on that. Another game that might be a disappointment to a lot of people, we got White Knight Chronicles 2. Now, I picked this up because I was at GameStop and I saw this had a price drop. It was $20 and it came with the first game, White Knight Chronicles, which are, I guess you could say, some of Level 5's most polarizing games, to say the least. I've played about 10 hours of White Knight Chronicles 2 and I'm enjoying what I'm playing, but in my mind I'm thinking Level 5 is so much better than this. But at the same time, I'm nowhere near that point where I can really fully be like, oh, this is what they were trying to do. I mean, the story is, well, it exists. The combat is, well, it's a combat system. But yeah, maybe I do need to spend some more time to this, because everybody I know who played this game is like, yeah, man, it gets so much better, man. It's like awesome. And of course, we have Mortal Kombat. As you guys know, I am not too big on the fighting game genre at all. Mainly my fighting games that I would play would be something like Smash Brothers, or, oh, that's actually contraband, you can't say that, that's taboo, because Smash Bros. Ain't a fighter, apparently. Games like that, but I also play stuff like Tekken, Mortal Kombat, and King of Fighters. Granted, I don't play them competitively, I don't go crazy, I would play it once every couple of months. That's basically what I do. If I have a friend over and you wanted to play a game, hey, we just pop in Mortal Kombat. And this was actually a really good game. I definitely did enjoy it. And I cannot wait for Mortal Kombat X or Mortal Kombat 10. I'm calling it Mortal Kombat X. I think that one's going to be just as good, if not better, than this one. I don't know where the first one is, but yeah, we have BioShock 2. This is another game where I own multiple copies of it. I own this on the PC as well as the PS3 in addition to the first game, which I cannot find here, so I guess I ended up selling the PS3 version since I have the PC version. Yeah, as you guys know, I rebuy games on PC because they're always in bundles and they're dirt cheap. Like, I got both games for $7.50 total, so I was like, fudge it. Why not, man? Why not, man? Put extra grease on it, too. But yeah, BioShock 2 is definitely not as good as the first one. It's not developed by the same guys, but they made a lot of gameplay improvements over the first one. I will definitely say that. The gameplay is a lot more refined this time around as opposed to the first one. It's just that the story is not as good. It doesn't feel like a sequel at all. It just feels sort of like a side game, like a side story. Onto a game that is basically useless at this point. MAG, because the servers went down not too long ago. In all seriousness, MAG was a really interesting game. It's developed by Zipper Interactive, the guys who worked on SOCOM. And I just think that the game was really, I wouldn't say ahead of its time, but it should have been on a different platform than PlayStation 3. I think this game would have benefited so much more and still be active today if it was on PC. Definitely a lot more people would be playing it and it would have longevity, because at its core, this is a good game. It's 256 players online. No, it's not what you're thinking. It's not 256 actual people in just one arena fudging shit up. It's not that at all. It's separate and all that junk, but there are a lot of people online who play the game. But I just think that it wasn't suited for the console demographic. I don't think that the console demographic really gave this game a chance. And then now with the servers being shut down, Zipper Interactive basically being defunct, no one can really play this game anymore, so it's just a PlayStation 3 coaster for your drinks. And there's no harm in saying that. I mean, I got a few good matches out of it, but I really wish that they would have released this on PlayStation 3 and PC, so at least I could still play it on PC, because every now and then I have an urge to play this game, but I can't. Keeping with the trend of developers who were closed down, we have LA Noire from Team Bondi and Rockstar Games. Interesting game. I love the premise of LA Noire. I love all the cases. I love the story. I love everything about it. It's great. You know, you really haven't played something like this. However, it just felt a wee bit repetitive with certain things, and it did feel closed off compared to other Rockstar related video games. We know it wasn't supposed to be an open world, but I feel like it could have benefited so much more if the cases were expanded upon just, oh, this area here, this area there, oh, we have to drive all the way over here because that person's there, initiate running chase sequence. Like, that got old by the third time it happened. So yeah, that was one of my major complaints. But the game is good at its very core. The facial animation, all that capturing was pretty awesome, and interrogations were funny, to say the least. I really do wish that someone out there would make another LA Noire and definitely open up the world. Maybe Rockstar would get on that at some point, like they did with Max Payne 3 after such a long time. But it's definitely a game worth checking out. This one here is one of my more recent acquisitions. I got this because it was dirt cheap at Target. I was browsing through the video game section and I saw this in the clearance bin for $5.98, and we have Sorcery. This game is what I think got so many people hyped for the PlayStation Move and really reinvigorated motion controls, because they were billing this as Harry Potter in the real. I mean, the way they were casting the spells and everything, it looked insanely cool. But the game came out well after the intended release window. I think this was announced in 2010, and they didn't release it till, like, when did this come out? I'm thinking late 2012. Yeah, it came out in 2012, so that is an insanely long time. By that time, motion controls were basically dying, pretty much dead for the most part. I'm interested in it because I was excited for it at some point when I was a young Neo still in high school. So I'm definitely going to give this game another chance, and if it sucks, well, $5.98, can't go wrong. Next up, we have another game that may be disappointing to a lot of people, Resident Evil 5, and this is of course the Gold Edition, or the Game of the Year Edition. It basically comes with all of the DLC in addition to PlayStation Move support. I think this was only released on PS3. But Resident Evil 5 is a good game. It's a good game if you don't think of it as Resident Evil at all. This is basically... Resident Evil 6 really cemented it, but this was Gears of Evil. This was such a Gears clone, it wasn't even funny. Granted, there are differences between the two, but they were not going for survival horror with this one at all. After part 4, they really just went to, okay, we want to focus on co-op and just, you know, shooting gallery things, but it's a good game if you don't think of it as Resident Evil, but sadly, it's Resident Evil, unfortunately, and it's a main game. If it was a side game, you're cool, bro, cool. Man, yeah, side game. Main game. Bruh. I wonder what's inside here, because this is actually pretty thick. Oh, that's why. Colored manual. Such a rarity. Next up, we have another PlayStation Move game. Honestly, the past couple ones have been PS Move compatible. Did I plan this? I don't know. We have House of the Dead Overkill Extended Cut. This was actually a game that was out on the Wii, and they ported it to PS3, and then they ported it to PC as The Typing of the Dead. And this game is amazing. Like, this is one of the best games of the generation. This is such, oh my god. Go look up gameplay of House of the Dead Overkill. Any person who is a fan of them cheesy horror movies from the 80s, this game is such a throwback to all that stuff. And playing it with PlayStation Move and all your friends, you all have the PlayStation Move controllers, I don't even know where it is. Oh, it's right here. Wow, I actually still have it. Yay for like the 5 games that were released for it. But this game is definitely worth trying out with the PlayStation Move. It's a railgun game. I'm thinking railgun, I'm thinking of a certain scientific railgun now. How sidetracked are we? But this is a great game. I definitely recommend people who are into this sort of thing check it out. Like I said, watch gameplay for it and then see if you really like this. Anyone who's a fan of House of the Dead is automatically going to like something like this. Alrighty, now we have Dante's Inferno, the Divine Edition. I don't know why it's called the Divine Edition. I think that's the Day 1 edition. They were trying to be edgy, I guess. But this is basically God of War with the Bible attached to it. That's all it is. And it's not a bad game. It's actually pretty decent. I'm having no problems with it. It's God of War at its core, no matter what. But it's fun. It's fun seeing a different spin on it instead of just, you know, having Kratos and, you know, dealing with the Greek gods and such. You know, you're going through the having all the religious stuff built into it. So that's definitely a different change of pace. And it's fun. I mean, it's if you love games like God of War, then you're gonna enjoy this. Not if you love God of War. If you like games like God of War, you're gonna enjoy Dante's Inferno. Alrighty, the next couple of ones are JRPGs. We have the Final Fantasy X 10-2 HD Remaster. And I basically picked this one up on a whim. I went to the midnight launch for Infamous Second Son, and I was curious. I was like, hey guys, you got any more Final Fantasy X 10-2 limited editions left in? And he was like, yeah man, we got one more here. And I was like, huh. So I ended up plopping down the money for it and I bought it. And as you guys know, I'm a big fan of all of these type of special, not even just special editions. This was, I think, was a Day 1 edition for those who pre-ordered it. And it's very beautiful. You get a good art book and the games themselves. And from what I've played of Final Fantasy X, the remaster is very good. Why it took almost 3 years after they announced it for us to get the remaster is beyond me, but it's Final Fantasy X. You're either going to like it or you're just going to say it's bleh at the very least. 10-2 on the other hand, I'm not like most. While this game is like nowhere near as good as the first 10 game, I have a soft spot for it because it was like one of my first Final Fantasy games I actually completed. All the other ones I had gotten like very close to the end but stopped for whatever reason. I game hopped a lot when I was a kid. But I actually finished this when I was like, ooh, interesting. It's not a horrible game. It isn't. It's certainly better than some of the 13 ones, but it's just Square Enix, please don't do sequels to Final Fantasy games. Please don't. Another limited edition, we have the Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD Remix, another limited edition art book. Same amount of pages as the other one, and then you have a foreword from Tetsuya Nomura. Like with Final Fantasy, this is a compilation of the Kingdom Hearts games. One Chain of Memories, and they remade the cutscenes from 358x2. And they're fantastic. This is one of the best remasters I've ever seen, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Kingdom Hearts fanboy. Kingdom Hearts 1 is absolutely stunning, and the additions that they've included to make it feel like some of the more recent entries in the series, they make a lot of sense. Granted, it's not a perfect remaster. Chain of Memories does not hold up nowhere near as well, and they could have done so much more with the 358x2 cutscenes. They could have animated boss battles and stuff. It's very confusing to read through 358x2 if you haven't already played the game already. So go into this with the notion that you're not going to be getting a complete experience on 358x2, unfortunately. But this is a fantastic collection nonetheless. Now moving on to that Tales greatness, we have Tales of Xillia, Xillia, whichever way you like to pronounce it. This is the limited edition, Day 1 edition. Not my favorite out of the bunch. I really do love it, as I love a lot of the other Tales games. It was a very closed off entry in terms of the decisions they made. It was very linear. It had great characters and a great battle system, which were the two most important things in a Tales game for me. So it's a great game, worth playing, and you're definitely gonna learn to love these characters. Moving on to the sequel, we have Tales of Xillia 2. And I believe this might be my first time talking about Xillia 2 since I actually purchased the game and completed the game. A very interesting sequel, to say the least. I'm probably going to do a video on this on my second channel, Neo Game Spark 2. I have a series called Let's Just Talk, and I just talk about games that I've been playing. Really chill, laid back, nonchalant. Because there's a lot I want to say on this, and it's probably not what you're expecting, but Tales of Xillia 2. Now moving on to Tales of Grace's F, and I actually just completed, like not just, I say just, because for me, if it's a video game in the past 4 months, it's I just completed something. I completed the epilogue arc. As you know, this is, it has 2 stories. It has the main story, then it has the epilogue portion that was added to the PS3 version. And for the longest time, I just put it off, but I was like, you know what? We gonna do that shiz. So I grinded and I defeated the final boss, and it was just like, bruh, my feels. And then you just see the ending. It's like, bruh, even more feels. This is a great Tales game. I know a lot of people don't like this one because of the art style and the story and stuff, but that combat system was on point. Those combos I was doing, ooh, going up past 100, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So Tales of Grace's F. You can definitely find this one pretty cheap on the PlayStation Network. I always see Tales for this and Tales of Xillia. Not too long ago, it was like 15 bucks. You get both games. So definitely keep an eye out for this if you want a really good JRPG. Moving on to what is probably one of the most critically acclaimed Japanese games in the past couple of years. We have Demon's Souls. Not Demon Souls, Demon's Souls. That always tripped me up when I first started playing the game. Everyone was asking me, what game are you playing? Oh, I'm playing Demon's Souls. And they're like, why do you put so much emphasis on the first S? And I'm like, if I don't, it sounds weird. Why am I a stickler for that? The world may never know. But yeah, this, I don't really need to say much on it. It's a freaking amazing game. Freaking amazing. The combat, the difficulty, it's a very challenging game. It's not impossible, as a lot of people here are saying. It's one of the most hardest games in the world. No, when did you start gaming? 2007? Like what? But this is definitely worth, like, if you're gonna put the effort into this game, the game is gonna be fun. And there's so many ways to play this game, so many different classes. It's definitely worth checking out. It has 2 spiritual successor sequels in Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2, and then it also has Bloodborne coming out very soon. But yeah, if you want to see where it all began, well, on the PlayStation 3 anyway, I know, because this is a spiritual successor to another game, then definitely check out Demon's Souls. You can get this for like, I've seen it for $9. Moving on to what is probably one of the best Ratchet & Clank games in years. We got Ratchet & Clank Future Cracking Time. Now, I played Ratchet & Clank games growing up, but I definitely took sort of a hiatus after I played, Ratchet & Clank Deadlocked, or Ratchet Deadlocked, I'm sorry, because I was focusing heavily on the multiplayer in the Ratchet games. Trent, you know how many times. Ratchet & Clank 3 and Deadlocked had just such fun multiplayer, and then when they got to the PS3, they removed the multiplayer component, so I was like, man, I'm not getting another Ratchet & Clank game unless they put that multiplayer in there. But this game had gotten so many positive reviews, and I saw it really cheap, so I was like, alright, I'll buy it, and it's freaking fantastic. One of the best games in the series, and this is really, as everybody says, it's a Pixar movie come to life. And there's no denying that. The animations in this game are just so gorgeous. They're just so beautiful. They've had a lot of other Ratchet & Clank games since. I mean, they had Ratchet & Clank All for One, which was trash. They had Full Frontal Assault, which was, I believe, a tower defense-like game. And then they recently came out with Ratchet & Clank Into the Nexus, which is a return to form. And then they have a new one coming out, which is actually tying in with the theatrical movie. It's going to be not a reboot or a remake of the first game, but it's going to be a reimagining and bringing it up to the modern standards to tie it in with the movie. So if it is classic Insomniac with Ratchet & Clank, I'm definitely on board for it. And if they put that multiplayer in there, yo, dude, that is going to be a day zero purchase. I don't care. I'm about to go up there and be like, yo, you know what Call of Duty did for Advanced Warfare? They got that day zero, get like a 1 day early. Do that for Ratchet & Clank. I will pay you like $80. Just do it. I will buy any overpriced collector's edition. Just do it. But yeah, if you want to check out Ratchet & Clank, this would be, it's not a bad game to start. Speaking of really iconic Sony mascots, we have the Sly Collection. This was, I think, the first Sony mascot of the original trio that I purchased on PlayStation 3. And y'all know I was so excited for this. Sly is one of my favorite franchises, and to have all 3 fantastic games in HD, they definitely warranted the upgrade. It's just so beautiful playing these games again. And the third one has 3D, if anybody cares about 3D nowadays. I don't know, something about Sly Cooper, it's just fantastic. I can't say this enough. I know I say this about a lot of the games in the collection, but they just don't really make these games anymore. They really don't. Oh, and back onto the subject of Ratchet & Clank. We got the Ratchet & Clank HD collection. This comes with the first 3 games in high definition, and like Sly Cooper, beautiful, beautiful remasters, and they're all running in native 1080p. I was playing the first game. It looks like I'm playing a game that is well past when it was released. Like, I think the first Ratchet & Clank came out in, what was it, I think 2001? 2002, around there. That game definitely got a great upgrade. It looks fantastic running in high definition. And what's really awesome about this, not a lot of developers do it, but the third game, Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal, actually includes the multiplayer component. So to this day, you can still play the game online. So I was getting in some games with Dante86 and my boy Trent. We're recruiting a Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal army because we got to take down this one guy named Jigaboo Jones. This dude was soloing us. It was 1v3. He was kicking the crap out of us and we were going ham on him. This dude, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. But if you are a person who actively plays Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal online, if you have this HD collection and you connect to the internet on PS3 and you play multiplayer games, hit a dude up. We are getting this clan together to just relive all the old memories and the classics. I mean, a lot of people look at it like so many years later and are like, why this game is nothing compared to stuff today? Nah, you do not like understand how much fun this was like a decade ago. It was oh my god, the memories. And I know a lot of people are asking, well, you have 2 out of 3. Where is the Jak and Daxter collection? Currently letting a friend borrow it at the moment, but you guys have seen me do a playthrough on it. I use the term very loosely. And just like the other 2 members of the trio, it received a fantastic upgrade on PlayStation 3. Can't say the same about the PlayStation Vita version though, unfortunately. Moving on to another HD collection. God dang, 1, 2, what was this, like the 3rd one? Woof! We got the God of War collection. This is what I really think started it off. I mean, a lot of people were like, yo, they're bringing the God of War games to PS3. Hype up number 3, man, it's crazy. And this came out and everybody just like, it was balls to the walls, went crazy for it, and it warranted it. I mean, the games benefited from running on the PlayStation 3 hardware. You know, games are the best they're ever going to look. And I love the God of War games. I know it's like if you play one, you basically played them all, but there are really subtle changes in between each game that differentiate it from past games. I mean, if you're playing God of War 1 and then you're jumping to something like Ascension, totally different. Same thing if you're playing like God of War 3 and you're going to something like Chains of Olympus, totally different. So, the God of War collection. But you thought that was the last God of War collection? Nah, bro, we got the God of War Origins collection. This brings together both of the God of War games that were released on the PSP onto the PS3. Now you say I'm getting kind of winded talking about God of War so much. But yeah, the games are PlayStation portable games brought onto the PS3, so take that as you will. The games look great for PSP games on the PS3. I'm playing through Chains of Olympus right now. This is actually my first time playing through it, and it's a God of War game. It's pretty cool. I've heard really good things about Ghost of Sparta, so I actually cannot wait to try that out. So, the God of War Origins collection. Moving on to the Mac Daddy, God of War 3, with a very simple cover. All you're seeing is just the eye of an angry Kratos, as opposed to the other covers, which looked a bit more grandiose. All you have is the eye of an angry Kratos. The production value on this game, honestly, in my opinion, was unrivaled in visuals for a very, very, very long time. The scope and the spectacle is just, honestly, no game has really topped it. To be honest, if you're playing God of War 3 and you're just looking at the scope of it, the only game that in my opinion, that's really topped it is God of War Ascension. And that's obvious, because it's the next game in the series. Technically a prequel, but you get what I'm saying. But yeah, definitely a fantastic game. And I honestly, as I know a lot of people are saying that God of War is oversaturated, you know, we already have so many games in the series, we don't need another one for a while. There's something about Santa Monica Studio that whenever you say that, they bring out the next one and it's just like, god damn, that was cool. So while we've seen a lot of God of War games, they are spaced out accordingly. So while a lot of people may say that it is the same game over and over again, like I said earlier, there are subtle changes that differentiate it between the two, and the only common thing is that there's an angry Kratos in every game. Probably one of the most disappointing games in my collection, we have Killzone 3. Now don't get me wrong, this game is pretty, as all Killzone games are. But the story is, What is it? What is going on in Killzone 3? I really don't understand it. They're trying to go for this like cinematic movie quality, but the lines are just so piss poor, and it's just like it's trying to be something that it's not, bruh. It really isn't. It's like this linear corridor FPS. It's, you know what it is? This is the oh my god, what's the best term to describe this? This is for people who are saying, yeah, Call of Duty's got a shit campaign, but look at Killzone, it looks better. This is Call of Duty, except prettier. That's it. That's all the story is. The multiplayer, on the other hand, was just an absolute disappointment. They were trying to be like Call of Duty, but it ended up being fucking unbalanced as hell. So, hey, they definitely achieved what they were going to do with that. And while it's not a bad game at the end of the day, it's just so disappointing in comparison to like all the other first-person shooters that are out on the market. This is probably one that, this is the Final Fantasy 13 of first-person shooters. Amazing production values, kind of fun to play, but just lacking in substance compared to other things on the market. Oh, that's funny. We were just talking about comparing that to Final Fantasy 13. We got Final Fantasy 13 right here. Oh, joy. This freaking game is so deceiving. Because you spend so much time playing it, you think you like it, you get to a certain point where the story branches out, you think it's great. I thought this was a great game when I was playing it for the first time. I dumped so many hours into it. I don't know why, because I wasn't really hyped for it. The production value of this game, beautiful. Still one of the best looking games. The story. What? The gameplay. What? When you're playing this game, you're thinking, yeah, man, I love Final Fantasy 9, I love Final Fantasy 6, you know, I love those games. Final Fantasy 7's cool, Final Fantasy 10 is aight. And then this is like baby's first RPG. That's basically what it is. Because you get in there and it's like, okay, auto command and okay. Yeah, and everybody likes to say, nah, you can turn off auto command. There's strategy in the game. There really isn't, and it's definitely not as deep as some of the other games in the series. Like, this was seriously the Final Fantasy game that was trying to appeal to the Western gamers, but the problem is, Western gamers are used to big, expansive, open worlds like Dragon Age and Morrowind and Oblivion. And then this is linear and lifeless and limiting. But she's pretty, apparently. Yeah. So I bought that on release for $30. I had some GameStop credit, so I didn't feel too bad about it. What I did next, I do not understand why, but I got the sequel! I got Final Fantasy 13 too, y'all! Why'd I get this? It was 15 bucks. 5.5 months after its release. A $60 game for 15 bucks. My inner, like, coupon clipper, I just dropped the game right there, give me 1 second. So as I was saying, the part of me that is shopping around for amazing deals just couldn't pass it up for 15 bucks. And, you know, wow, that's surprising. Color manual in 2012 when this came out? Yeah. I get sidetracked so easily. Yeah, I bought this, and while it is a better game in some respects, like the gameplay, the story is just like, what the hell is going on? Like, I do not want to attach myself to this at all. I like time travel, I love that concept, but here it's just like, no. And then you're playing as Lightning's little sister, and she's on the cover when she's like barely in the game and stuff, and I don't understand it at all. But it's a better game, it's just not by much. You're looking at it with rose-tinted glasses, like, well, yeah, it's better than the last one, but still mediocre compared to all the other games in the series. But the production value is nice. Speaking of amazing production value, we got Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. One of the most beautiful games, beautiful games. It was developed by Level 5 with assistance from the greatness that is Studio Ghibli. Ghibli, however you like to pronounce it. I say Ghibli. I started saying Ghibli for a while. I stopped saying Ghibli because it sounds like a giblet. What's a giblet? I was thinking, like, for a long time I thought like a giblet was a little thing that is on the chickens and stuff, like right there, giblet. Where we're going with this, I don't know. But this is a very nice game. It's very pretty and it's heartwarming and it's nice and sad and stuff. But that gameplay though, it's boring. Don't get me wrong, I love this game, but it's such a chore to play. I guess I've been playing better RPGs in the meantime, but it's a beautiful game, but the battle system is just not fun at all. It really isn't. Beautiful production values, fantastic soundtrack, but the battle system and everything is just so boring. Next up, we have a game that I really do regret not putting too much time into. Although the time I spent in it, I really did enjoy. We have Yakuza 4, and it's funny I'm talking about this now because we got a localization announcement last month for Yakuza 5. Finally, after almost 3 years. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I definitely want to finish this one up before the 5th game comes out, and I really do want to support it because I'm really liking this game. And if it's as good as the stuff I've seen in Yakuza 5, then I want to support Yakuza 5. And if Yakuza 5 does well, then they might bring over Yakuza Restoration and then maybe Yakuza 0 and all those other greatness titles that they're probably going to make at some point. But yeah, this is definitely on my to-do list after I finish up a couple more games. Might as well just knock the next 2 out of the park because they're basically the same game at the end of the day. We have Little Big Planet Game of the Year Edition and Little Big Planet 2. Great play, create, and share levels. This is a fantastic platformer, really focusing a lot on creativity and you building your own creative levels and playing with friends and stuff. And I really do love the games. However, I'm not that creative of a person when it comes to making user-generated content. I'm not really that type of guy who'd be there making mods and stuff. But I've definitely played a lot of fantastic stuff that I've seen from people, and I really do like this series. Little Big Planet 3 came out on PS4 and PS3. I'm definitely going to get that at some point when I see it for a really cheap price, and of course they patch everything in. But yeah, Little Big Planet is it's a great platformer. That's all I gotta say. It's not a platformer that's focused on you getting the highest score or doing speed runs and stuff. It's more focused on you really interacting with the levels and seeing all the hilarious hijinks and all that awesome stuff that ensues from all the content that people make. And people are really creative in this game. There's like millions upon millions of levels at the time I'm recording this, and I just can't wait to see what people are going to do further down the line with new tools when they release the next Little Big Planet game or something. But definitely a game that I think a lot of people, if they're into that sort of thing, should check out. Next up, we have another HD collection. I know I have a lot of them in my collection, but these are for so many classic games that I grew up playing and I grew up loving, and just to see them again is definitely worth the entry price, and that is the Ico and Shadow of the Colossus collection. And let me tell you about these 2 games right here. If anybody out there, for whatever reason, says that video games are not a form of art, definitely direct them to these 2 games. Ico alone is just a masterpiece. But Shadow of the Colossus, on the other hand, Shadow of the Colossus takes everything that you know about gaming and story narrative and it strips it down to the bare minimum. You would never think that this game has like a particular story behind it, but it's a game that really gets you thinking with how minimal you know about the story. Like I said years upon years ago, there is no main objective of the game outside of killing these giant bosses known as colossi. And throughout the game, subliminally, you start thinking to yourself, me killing all of these colossi, is this actually a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Like, so many moral stances and crazy things that happen that really you think too much into the game. But Shadow of the Colossus definitely benefited from the HD upgrade. To this day, Shadow of the Colossus is one of the best games that utilizes physics I've ever seen. The physics in Shadow of the Colossus beat out some of the games that we're releasing now on the PS4 and the Xbox One. And if you see any playthrough of it, you'll just see the complete difference and the contrast in that game, which came out like 2005, 2006, around there. And then you see it in modern games, you're like, wow. And this was done on PS2 hardware. So, developers, step your game up! A lot of you can probably tell what this is by the front of the casing. This is the Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception Fortune Hunter Edition, I believe that's what it called. Came with this giant collector's set, which I have over here on display. A ring, a figure, belt buckle, all that stuff. And of course the game itself in this nice steelbook over here. And Uncharted 3 is a fantastic game in its own right. It's not my favorite of the trio. It's number 2 at the moment. Uncharted 2 just ranks above them all. But 3 is still a great game. I just felt like the story was better in 2. But the production values in this game, oh my lord. The Rubicali Desert, that entire section, unmatched. Unmatched. That's a game you point to people who are like, yeah, PS3 can't do these crazy graphics. That game alone had fantastic visuals, and now you know, like, for all the people out there who are doubting Naughty Dog with the PlayStation 4 because they saw the pre-alpha of Uncharted 4, the pre-alpha of Uncharted 4, and saying, man, next gen's ripoff. That was pre-alpha. Now moving on to, I guess you consider this another gaming pile of shame. Not yet opened, we have Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z. I picked this up as a blind buy. This game was only $10 at Best Buy, and I bought this a couple of months after it came out. I mean, this game apparently was not very good at all. But for $10, a brand new PS3 game, still in the packaging, I'm like, hey, why not? And I know I'm going to get some enjoyment out of it. But for $10, I don't regret purchasing it. I mean, come on. $10 for a brand new PlayStation 3 game, still in the packaging, and at the very least, it's going to be a decent game worth $10. I mean, $10 is like a meal at a fast food joint. So, yay. Ninja Gaiden Z. We have Gran Turismo 5. This was actually a gift from my friend Billy for Christmas a couple of years back, and I was always interested in playing the Gran Turismo series. Never really played too many of the games outside of a couple of demos here and there. But this is a really good game. I mean, the production value is great. The amount of cars is fantastic, and after you get through all of the patches and stuff for it, it's a pretty fun racer. Sadly, I haven't put too much time into it because I'm not really too big a fan of simulation racers, but I always wanted to try it out, and I guess I don't regret getting it. We have another Christmas present from a very close friend of mine, Dante86, Disgaea 4, A Promise Unforgotten. Yeah, man, the Disgaea series is, how can I say this? This is my first Disgaea game that I'm actually playing consistently. Like with Gran Turismo, I'd seen it before in the past. I'd played demos of it for 5 minutes, but never got too into it. But this game is awesome. I'm just loving the humor in this game. And the main character right here, this guy right here, Valvatores, glory to the beautiful sardine master race. It's just a fun, really, really in-depth strategy game. This thing weaves so many different types of genres together. It is not as clear from the get-go as you think it is. It's just so deep with the amount of content in here. And like I heard for some people that you can spend 200 to 300 hours playing this game consistently. And I'm like, whoa. So he got me that. I'm still really early in it because I'm focusing on a lot of things at the same time. Horrible management, I know. But I really do love this. I really do love it. Which is why when I saw this for $15, I couldn't pass up. Disgaea D2, Brighter Darkness. $15 for the day one edition. It comes with an art book, I believe. But yeah, Best Buy was putting this on clearance. I bought it. Actually, it's a 2-disc soundtrack and an art print and free DLC that actually expired November 2013. I bought this November 2014. So yay for expired DLC. But you know, like Disgaea 4, I'm definitely gonna, when I want to kill 200 to 300 hours in a strategy RPG that's not Fire Emblem or Advanced Wars, I'm definitely gonna get on to that Disgaea greatness. But definitely glad to have this for $15 because this is a NIS America published game, so you know these things are not going to be out in the wild for too long. One of the surprise hits that I really am having a lot of fun playing, and that is Puppeteer. I got this on Black Friday a couple of years back, and basically think of this as you playing through a theater performance, if that makes any sense. There's really not too much crazy gameplay going on in this, but you're just immersed in this really nice atmosphere, and the production values are fantastic. And I just gotta point out the fact that this is the future, man. Look at this, reversible covers, so you can show people the controls of the game when they pick the game up from your library. That's great. 3D Dot Game Heroes, you guys already know about this. People consider it Zelda for the PlayStation 3, and I don't deny that whatsoever. But in my opinion, I think that it was the best Zelda game that we had for a while until they brought out A Link Between Worlds. because Nintendo really was not focusing on 2D Zelda for a good minute. But this is fantastic. There's so many classic nods and jokes towards other video game franchises, and the music here is it's a throwback game. It's definitely a throwback game, and it has its place in the world. I talked about this earlier, the greatness that is Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. What else can be said, people? What else can be said? Infamous 2, definitely my favorite game out of the Infamous trio. The story was a lot more grand. They added in a lot more new gameplay elements and features, and of course, Cole returning, looking all badass and shit. Thank the Lord they changed his design back. That Nathan Drake wannabe div just rubbed me all kinds of ways wrong till Thursday. But yeah, they put him back in here, and it's classic Cole, and I'm not as salty anymore. And I bought the Hero Edition for this when it was on sale for 60 bucks. So I got the Hero Edition, which came with a bunch of stuff for the same price of the game. So awesome, 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 awesome. Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2, currently my favorite Dragon Ball Z game of the past, when did this come out, 2010? Yeah, close to 5 years. This is my favorite Dragon Ball Z game. I'll just say it's day and night between this and Raging Blast. They definitely learned their lesson. They listened to the fan feedback. They fixed the combat system. They got rid of the story. They added in this cool arcade mode. And the only thing that I just sucks that they took out, well, they didn't even add it, spectator mode for the tournaments. Like, really? Like, we can't see our friends fight in this game? But they brought it back for, I think it was Ultimate Tenkaichi. Great, we can watch QuickTime events. Awesome. But if you want a good Dragon Ball Z game on PS3 and 360, Raging Blast 2 is definitely where it's at. Leagues above Burst Limit, leagues above Battle of Z, just sparking greatness. Speaking of classic Dragon Ball Z games, the Budokai HD Collection. I'm not gonna say no, no, no! I'm not gonna say too much on this because all my games just fell on the floor. But y'all fans gotta stop bitching. Y'all were all up on Budokai 3's dick for 30 years, and then when they asked to do an HD collection, it's all about Budokai 2. It's all about Budokai 2. That game mode, man. I miss that game mode. Y'all some of the fakest fans in the world, I swear. I never heard of a fan of Budokai 2 till people came in whining about the HD collection. It's too shiny, it's too shiny. You people are the reason we got DBZ for Connect. You people don't know what you freaking want. I want an HD collection Dragon Ball Z games. Okay, we'll give you the first one and we give you the third one because they're different. I want my Budokai 2. And the final physical game in my collection, this is probably my most recent purchase, definitely my most recent purchase, the Kingdom Hearts 2.5 limited edition set. As you guys know, I did an unboxing for it. Comes with Kingdom Hearts 1.5. I have an extra copy of that in addition to Kingdom Hearts 2.5, which has Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, Birth by Sleep Final Mix, and, well, that's it because Coda doesn't exist in my eyes. And those were all of my PlayStation 3 games, you guys. I know this video is super freaking long. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Till the next update, whenever the heck that is, I'm GS signing out, and like always, I will catch you guys later. Peace.